I guess I miss really just being able to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. You know, everything in life requires a plan and a backup plan and a backup to the backup plan. And I don't know, it's more effort than it, you know.
TJ was injured in Iraq on May 29th, 2007 by a sniper in a window a half a block away. He was shot in the head, sustained traumatic brain injury, sustained permanent blindness. He was shot, the bullet went in his left eyebrow and exited the right eyebrow.
I'd been there for a year, and that night we're working upstairs, and I went to go with two other guys to go downstairs to get water, and right when I was about to walk downstairs, I got shot in the head.
He suffered a gunshot wound to his left temporal lobe. He was immediately rushed off to a field hospital in Balad, and they did emergency surgery where they removed half of his skull so to allow his brain to swell.
The magic 100, as they say, the space they don't have any armor on is your face, and that's where I sustained my wounds. It was to the side of my head, in this area here.
He was airlifted to Balad where he had initial cranial surgery. They removed a third of his skull. From there he went to Landstuhl in Germany, was there for 48 hours, and from there was airlifted to Bethesda National Naval Medical Center where he spent a month.
I was shot with a 7.62 round, which is what's fired out of an AK-47, and that was enough to really put my life on the line for a while.
He was in a coma for the better part of 2 weeks, awoke and didn't really wake up completely for about 5 weeks.
He was shipped off to Bethesda Naval, or NNMC, he was there for probably 6 weeks, 3 weeks in the ICU, and a couple weeks on the regular ward.
Bethesda, I was there for 2 months, and I really don't remember that much at all when I was hurt, because I just hurt. It was so bad I couldn't do anything, and people were trying to help me a little bit, PT and stuff later when I was about to leave, but yeah, I didn't do much of anything.
In the beginning in the hospital, they said Pat would never speak probably, he'd never walk, he might not know any of us, which was kind of the hardest thing. Been married for almost 10 years, and to think that your husband can't even doesn't have a memory of you, that was hard to hear in the beginning.
He was already in the rehab in Philadelphia by the time he woke up and you could actually talk to him. It was a long time before he was able to carry on a conversation with us. He was well into the rehab in Philadelphia before he was totally awake.
Traumatic brain injury refers to a group of injuries to the head and brain that are very variable, very complicated. It's not one thing. Some of our service members have brain injury because a fragment of an IED or a mortar round or a bullet penetrate the skull and damage the interior of the skull, damage the brain tissue. Others are affected by a blast wave from a high energy explosive that detonates and propagates a speed of sound, compressed air blast wave through the brain tissue and causes diffuse damage to all of the brain. Others might be injured by blood loss, trauma to the chest and abdomen that causes massive hemorrhage, and now there isn't enough blood flow to the brain and you get what's called a hypoxic brain injury. And there are many more categories, but the main point is that brain injury is not one thing. It's a collection of different types of trauma to the brain that cause damage or loss of brain tissue and then cause deficits or abnormalities in brain function afterwards as a result.
Rehab was frustrating and rewarding all at the same time. You would go for weeks really without having any successes, but then you'd have a success and you'd hold on to it really for the next couple weeks while you didn't do anything, but then you'd have another success and you'd hold on to that one.
I decided to move down to the Washington, D.C. area where I started working with our injured servicemen. And my expectation was to be rehabilitating a lot of orthopedic injuries and amputations. And to my surprise, while I was seeing a lot of orthopedic and amputees or amputations, the primary injury I was seeing was traumatic brain injury.
Kristen and I met in college. We're friends in college and kind of left each other after college. And then bad fate, I guess as it is, had us meet up again about 2.5 years later when my injuries sustained in Iraq and Kristen's job had us meet up again through rehab and my attempts at getting better.
TJ had been living home after his rehabilitation and his cranioplasty had become infected. So he had come down to the DC area for medical care, and I ironically was assigned to him as his occupational therapist. So I spent the next several months working with TJ, and I learned that he was demonstrating some cognitive limitations that would interfere with his ability to live on his own. It was in speaking with his parents, but also speaking with other family members and speaking with other wives of injured service members, that the fear is who is going to take care of these service members with the brain injuries that need continued help in the community when they can't do it anymore.